Hey, live.
Oh,
Friday
hello.
night, 8 p.m. You know what it is. What's good, everybody? It's always funny when you start the lives and no mans are on yet, particularly on YouTube.
Because you just started.
You just started it. So it's always entertaining. But people do watch it back, so I guess you can just be normal.
Yeah.
Tiff.
What episode are we in now?
9.
Share this.
It's not really what I thought. I mean, it's weird because we got to 159 of the regular
podcast.
seasons.
Yeah, but it's interesting because now we split up into seasons. So.
Yeah, so now the numbers aren't as impressive, but this is building up much more than we thought. This was supposed to be the side thing. But we're going to keep the quarantine, the Adjunct series
Adjunct
going.
series continues, and that's like because we introduced it because Craig had a podcast itch, so even though our other seasons are a bit more well thought out, he wanted to have the ability to jump in. He had a podcast itch. It's okay, you're an obsessive podcaster.
I do. I like long form, man.
He loves long form. He loves a chin mic.
Loves a good chin mic. Loves a chin mic. I taught Tiff way too much Australian slang, and now she busts that shit out like it's not. Oh, Steve-o, what up, son?
How's it going?
How you doing, my man? Welcome. Glad you're here, my bro. Hope you are drinking. What time is it in Melbourne? 10:15 a.m. No, I hope you're not drinking.
You're probably not drinking.
But you know what? It is
we
Saturday.
Wouldn't judge you if you were.
No, I wouldn't judge you if you are, my dude. You know what? I just want to get into it.
Yeah.
So, all right, you good?
I am ready to go, and I'm excited.
It's a good one tonight, guys.
Got a good one.
Looking forward to this one.
If you can see my shirt, you'll know what's popping.
You know what it is.
To go down.
Oh shit! For the real heads, no. The real ones, no. All right, we good?
Limited edition.
Limited. Try and find that, fam. You ain't gonna get that. All right, you good?
Yeah. Are you starting the actual podcast now?
Whenever you.
All right.
Good?
Yeah.
What's good, y'all? This is C, Certified Brewhead, and welcome to episode 9 of our Adjunct series, Quarantine Edition of BAOS. This evening, I am joined once again by my glorious partner in everything, Tiffany Alexis. Hey, babe.
Hello, everyone.
How you
and
doing?
hey, babe. Good.
Thank you.
Good. You know, it's hot.
It's hot as hell.
Just living.
Sticky, man. We scored a
free air conditioner, which we're thrilled about.
But now, because it's literally right next to this, it would just be like the whole time.
Yeah.
So we let the door open, and now I'm like mad sticky. I can't man, you just can't win.
You can't win.
But I'm not going to whinge.
It's that humid life, but whatever. We only get 4 months of summer, so you just deal.
So you deal with it, you sweat, you cry, and you just you run with it.
Yeah.
Typically, speaking of weather, our glorious guests have the weather that we always want, and then I see them wearing a hoodie when it's December at 15 degrees Celsius. I'm like, fam, you don't need extra.
They totally do it for style, like
extra.
Just for style, like a beanie. I'm like, you don't need no beanie.
You don't need a beanie in LA. Get out. It's ridiculous, man.
Yeah,
like, whatever. Fine. It's privilege, but one of our illustrious guests does understand the struggle because they are from this side of the planet.
East Coast. Yes,
the East Coast, so they do know.
Yes.
So if you guys are OG BOS folks, you would know these lovely human beings. These are two of our favorite human beings. I was going to say in beer, but
on the planet.
Period. We've become really good friends with these guys. You might have heard them on episode 67, which was a hot minute ago. We recorded it October 2017. I don't remember when we released it, because back then we were like banking episodes.
Yeah.
So like Corey came out later.
Yeah.
But now a lot has changed with these guys. If you are anywhere in the beer scene, it is highly likely you are familiar. You know their faces, you know their business, you know their mission. Mate, I'm just going to bring them on. God damn it. Let me just unmute this. Here we go. Beny and Teo from Crowds of Hops. What's good, y'all? Hey!
Do you have a clap?
Oh, I do have a clap. I have an applause. Hey! Guys, so nice to see your faces.
I feel like every time I get on a podcast or anything with you that I should have an accent.
You can change accents with that.
Or a tank top. Tank top or an accent.
A tank top or an accent.
It's only
Is that your
I'm just really hot, man.
I blended all kind of stuff.
That was
what's going on, family?
Man, we are great, guys.
Yeah,
so
nice
to see your faces. You're looking good. You're looking healthy. You're looking quarantine fit.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Y'all fresh up. Some of y'all have been to the barber.
Yeah, you guys look good.
I see y'all.
I had to go to the barber, brother. I was looking like Teo, the Young Adventures of the Abolitionist. I mean, I was doing some Frederick Douglass kind of shit going.
I like that.
I almost did the part, but
no.
You're trying to be like me. See, now because I
could have been twins. Yeah,
have a barber that I go to. So yeah.
How does that work? Because my barber still isn't working in Montreal. We are the New York of Canada. We have half the cases of the whole country in this province.
Technically, we haven't been going to a barber.
Oh, I see.
No.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so I won't ask the protocols that a barber might use if they were to operate
I got really lucky. This is all new for me, so this is my first barber. Basically, was able to actually come to my house, but he came over and was fully masked, fully gloved, didn't take off his coat, and just kind of knocked it out. So I got lucky.
Okay, so that's the way it's done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's what I figured. Because I was
like, what's good, family? Holy shit, it's so good to see you.
I know.
Do you guys ever kiss on screen, or is that?
No.
I mean, what the hell is going on?
Do you think people wouldn't?
Because you guys do that long kind of pause and look at each other, and I'm like, it's gonna happen, and then like it never happens.
Well, we don't do that. Do we do that?
No.
We're not in the 50s anymore. You guys taken off the air.
Do you think the beer people want to see that?
You think the people want that? I doubt the people want that.
And the people fucking want it.
The people want it all.
Well,
you know what? That's a separate channel.
I feel like that's another channel.
Our OnlyFans. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, that's our OnlyFans account.
That's our OnlyFans. That's that paid content, my G. It's like paid content. You know what I mean?
Cash App.
I've been seeing. We don't have Cash App here, which sucks.
Yeah.
Or Venmo. No, or Venmo. It's just America. It's just the States.
Yeah.
I know. So we have to. We do it differently.
You know how to move that loop.
Yeah, I mean, we gotta do it the old-fashioned way, bro. The Ozark stuff.
Hey, this is a beer show, man.
Let's talk about beer.
Okay.
What are you guys drinking first and foremost? Ladies first. Benny, what do you got?
Well, I'll start. I'm drinking a Modern Times Fruitland.
I
did not have a chance to get to a proper store to get beer, but the Ralph's has Fruitlands, and I do love a good sour. So
hell yeah.
It's Modern Times, like
Modern Times,
okay.
California.
I have a beer that I don't even know if it's good anymore.
Okay.
But I'm about to crack this bitch.
Let me. Oh shit! Oh, you never drank that?
That's amazing.
That is a 2-year-old IPA, Teo.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!
I was always looking for the perfect reason for it. So.
All right.
I'm cracking.
Fascinated. All right, we're gonna watch this.
I am so curious to know what that is.
That's not looking too bad.
We all wait.
Yeah, we're like.
Yeah.
That was a good pour.
This was like the hoppiest beer of all time, so I'm curious.
Get it in ya. I don't know. I mean, it tastes like, or it smells like how it probably should after 2 years.
Literally 2 years. It came out February 2018.
February 6, 2018.
Yeah.
A tad bit sharp, but I'll work through it in that BPLB glass.
Hey, that branded right there. I love that. Look at the blur.
You didn't get the glasses?
Oh, well, because we're going to do half pour for any reason. So this one then, this is something, if you remember, episode, it would have been like in the 60s. In LA, we went to a brewery and I got very, 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 very drunk afterwards and vomited profusely. But the kind of individuals... You remember that car ride? I don't remember the car ride. It was a hot mess. And these guys sent me a pack of beers afterwards. It's Smog City, and it's called Beny and the Bretts. It's called. Can you tell that?
Beny and the Bretts.
Hey, so look at that. Double reference.
Had to do that.
So this is, unfortunately for us, 9.3%. Sour red ale aged in oak.
We're going to take that slow. Those guys were great.
I just realized that I didn't say what I was drinking for the people that are listening.
Thank you.
I'm drinking the Get It In Ya collab by Beer and Other Shit, BAOS, and Sawdust City Brewing Company.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Get It In Ya.
Yeah, super double hazy. Okay, that is way better than it should be drunk, but I thought I would wait for a great opportunity to crack it. So thank you, family.
Hey, brother, anytime. That is honestly hilarious to me.
I love that you have that.
Hang on,
all right.
This to Tiff. There you go, babe.
All right.
Guys, cheers. So great to see your faces.
So good to see you guys.
Hey.
Nice. It's like a Flanders. Oh, this is good.
Oh, that's good.
Doesn't even taste 9.3.
Those guys were great, Smog City.
Yeah.
And you hooked us up with a lot of good people. Yeah.
Porter and Lori are freaking incredible. They were one of the original. They're one of the original brewing companies here in the LA area. So to have friends not only in the new brewing community globally, to really have friendships with some of the original LA brewing individuals is pretty cool.
Yeah, man. And that was super warm. That was super friendly.
Yeah.
Super kind to even ship that out as well. And like, it was really good. And it was I think it was one of the first podcasts where it was interviewing two men that didn't have beards.
That's what I was thinking of immediately. I was like, the beardless.
Yeah,
podcast
that's all I remember. The beardless.
Ever.
I didn't remember their names off the top of my head, but I was like, the dudes without beards. Because that doesn't happen too often.
Never.
Come on, this is the podcast. Let's jump right into it.
All right, let's do it. So,
people want to hear it.
All right.
Let's get into it.
So, I love it. See, every time I do a podcast with Teo, he just runs the show.
Right.
I appreciate it because it takes the pressure off.
Yeah,
I love it.
He was your host for like 7
episodes.
episodes.
Yeah, it was a co-host. It was great. I was the
co-host
co-host, actually. It was 6 or 7 episodes.
Yeah,
it was a lot.
That was a good series. That was a really good series.
Man, that was fun as hell.
Yeah.
So, since people would have last seen you guys on our platform, you guys were Dope and Dank. You have since gone through a rebrand, done a crowdfunding campaign, won grants, and are now in the process of opening a brewery. So a lot has changed with you guys.
Changed in 2 to 3 years.
A lot has changed. Been to Europe, came back.
Yeah, you guys have been everywhere, literally changing the game. So I don't know where you want to start. Maybe if you want to address the Dope and Dank change to Crowns and Hops, and then what that...
I think you should even start briefly with just like Black People Love Beer to Dope and Dank, and then get into...
Good call. Just in case, because I feel like for the same as you guys...
we've had a new audience. You guys have a new audience, so I think it's always nice to recap.
Introduce yourself to the people, Benny.
Let's do that.
Absolutely. What's up, everyone? I'm Beny Ashburn, the CEO of Crowns and Hops Brewing Co.
C exec, C level.
Out of Inglewood, California.
Hey.
Inglewood. Okay.
Oh.
Right.
Okay, Teo.
And my name is Teo Hunter. I am the COO and head of brewing operations for Crowns and Hops Brewing Company.
Yeah.
Inglewood, California. What's cracking?
All day.
California.
Was good.
All right, so tell us about Black People Love Beer, how it came to be, how it started.
Let the man them know.
Yeah. So let's see, six plus years ago-ish.
Damn.
6 years.
We, just starting we noticed a void in the industry, right? There's not a lot of people of color in the industry. We immediately, took to action, created an entire movement and platform at the time called Black People Love Beer. Started curating events, creating content, really showcasing people of color in craft beer. We ultimately transitioned from Black People Love Beer to Dope and Dank, which really spoke to the missing culture of people of color in craft beer. So we really went out to identify the dope culture within the dank world of craft beer. And that really just opened up so many doors and opportunities and really created this amazing community that kind of lives inside of craft beer. And that's kind of where we started and how we've transitioned to where we are today.
And I'm wondering, what made you guys think, events were the place to go, or why did you choose, this model to bring people in?
So you take it.
I think one of the things that are very close to everybody's hearts in craft beer is the ability to gather and drink a pint together. I think that was one of the first things that, as an individual loving craft beer, I would go and check out the breweries that were local to me. And one of the first things that stood out to Benny and myself was the fact that a lot of times I was the only black man and she was definitely the only black woman. It was just such a stark, polarizing feeling to step into in a world that you knew you enjoyed the product of, but did not see a reflection. So one of the things that we realized is that by asking people to engage in a product that maybe they were not familiar with, the last thing we wanted to do was bring them into an environment that they wouldn't feel like themselves, and it wouldn't feel like, it was an opportunity for them to be free like they would as if they weren't at work. The last thing you want to feel when you're at a pub or at a brewery or at a drinking establishment is that you still have the rules and the paradigm of being not yourself, which a lot of times, that's the case. So we decided to bring the beer to the people. Yeah. And we did that through a few unique events, starting with barbershops, because we were able to pour up to a pint of beer in a barbershop without a license.
Dope.
And give people at least a tasting of 3 to 4 different styles, and really a solid introduction to craft beer space that was already organic and dope, and that's where we built our community.
And the great thing about that too is like, even if you weren't a craft beer drinker, it didn't matter, right? Like we wanted to create a space where you could feel comfortable trying craft beer for the first time if you've never had it before. And then also make it a place where people who do love craft beer felt really, really comfortable. So that's kind of where we've been leading and driving through everything that we've done is community first. Community first, community first. We got to rally together. We got to come together and create these safe spaces for us to be able to really explore craft beer culture the way we feel the most comfortable.
I love that. I love it. So
I see this person said, "What's
up,
guys?"
Yeah, someone Henry Uval, aka Hopped Up Sin Chemist. Do you guys know Henry?
Oh hell yeah! What up, fam?
He said, "What's up?" He said, "What up? What up? What up?" Legend coming through.
That's good people. Thanks for jumping on the live, homie. Man, we got cats from the States showing up.
Right? Hey. America represented out here. So we met you guys around, I guess it was 2016, probably.
Yeah, probably.
I think so.
Damn, really?
Tiff,
yeah. For a while.
It was a minute. The beginning.
And we'll go a little bit into the story for your viewers. Beny and I had just created the handle Black People Love Beer. For a lot of people that don't know, it started off as that being our handle, not Dope and Dank, not Crowns and Hops. It was Black People Love Beer because we wanted it to be as polarizing as the feeling was of going into a craft brewery and not seeing your reflection.
Right.
So, one of the first things that we did is we started the Instagram handle and we started looking for Black people that loved beer. And sure enough, one of the first people that I saw was Tiffany fine ass with a damn goblet of beer. I was like, what? I was like, oh my God. I was like, kidding me? I'm up here looking for like some other bearded Black dude. Sure enough, I see a woman who is refined, who knows her angles and with beer, and we connected and immediately. I mean, it was like I think less than 24 hours. We all four of us were connected.
Yeah.
You know, so
Teo was like, "Yo, I think I met the us in Canada."
I remember we were saying that.
It's because this is, back when we were a couple back then, but he was like, yeah, they're a couple and they do stuff together and they do beer and they do content and they do all this stuff. And I was like, what? And then when we actually spoke to you guys, it was literally, I am Tiffany.
Yes,
and
it was ridiculous.
Exactly.
It was
and
wild.
It was just kind of awesome.
Oh, it was perfect. Yeah.
And we've been best friends ever since.
I know, love it. I still remember it. I was on a patio drinking beer, actually. It was when we were with Lena and you. And I was like, "What is this?" I was like, "It says Black people love beer," and I was like, "What's going on?" I took like a moment. I still remember, like, I don't even know how. I just remember being on the patio and seeing it. Yeah, I still remember that. Just because I was like, "What's this?" It's speaking. I don't know. It's so perfect. It's
but I guess
directly to me. Look at this couple. I just
because you had the same experiences over here, right?
Yeah,
being the same thing. There's like there's hardly any Black. You were saying to you, like barely Black men, let alone women, like. There was barely anybody that wasn't white. Doesn't matter what background they are.
And it's something considered audacious, right? And there's a thing where you see success, and it's the audacity to do X, Y, Z that somebody else wouldn't do. Yeah. So be able to have something that was like wow to me. So yeah.
It was very, very cool.
So from there, we went right into Dope and Dank, which was, and actually, Cee, you almost kind of represent one of the reasons why we transitioned from Dope and from Black People Love Beer to Dope and Dank. Black People Love Beer still remains very much a part of everything that we do because clearly we are Black people that love beer. Mm-hmm. But then we also realized that there was a culture that also wasn't seeing its reflection. Yes. And that was culture of dope people, the people that love hip hop, love jazz, love things that do stem from Black and brown culture. And we realized that people would identify immediately the word dope and see themselves in that, and dank being an attribute of craft beer, we figured that would be an easy way to show the bridge and to show the connection.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was something we spoke about on your live on Saturday on the Kick It With Crowns live, which we're going to get to after. But yeah, as far as as a white man, basically, I've got the world on my platter.
Oh, you're white?
Apparently, for those of you who are listening who don't know.
So I thought you were like a really light skinned kind of like.
But like
Drake,
really like.
He's a Drake. He's a light skinned Drake. He's a lighter skin.
Like 6 shades lighter.
Yeah, like 60 shades lighter.
Right? But the closest thing, interviewing brewers, like all I speak to, everyone's just playing metal and stuff, so they didn't really get to experience hip hop. So it took me a little bit to understand these beer people, because I didn't feel an immediate connection. Just because we might share a skin tone doesn't mean these are my people, and I never really connected because hip hop is my culture. I don't know, I just drawn towards that culture specifically, and anything that's sort of, I guess, surrounding that. So like seeing that you guys were like repping it heavy, and of course in the States it's a whole different game. In Canada it's like a little bit, you guys kind of drive all that stuff. It's an American culture first and foremost, hip hop anyway. So like that was super cool, because it was like you said, I gather that it made, whilst it was primarily for Black and brown people to feel welcome in an environment, and you guys were creating environments around where people traditionally gather, for anybody else who, like someone like me, who it doesn't feel out of place in a brewery, like I'm like sick, this made me feel more in place, because now I look around, like I'll never forget your event when we went to LA, and it was the crawl, and we did Boomtown, Mumford.
So much fun.
Dude, I remember sitting in Mumford
and Indy.
Yeah, remember when we were in Mumford and we were just looking around.
We
I
just
stopped for a second. We stopped and we were like, "This is
amazing."
Yeah,
we saw all
it's just not an experience we ever get.
Sexuality.
Yeah. Everything. It was just amazing. It was like equal balance of male to female, just everything.
For C.
And you know what's so crazy about that crawl is that crawl was the same day we did the photo shoot for our Times article, and it was so crazy. Like when we think about it now, like we planned this entire event where we're bouncing from brewery to brewery while simultaneously doing a photo shoot for our Time magazine feature that we didn't even know was going to be like a full page feature. We thought it would just be like a tiny little blurb, but yeah, that was a really big day for us, and we're glad that you guys are able to kind of see what it is that we were doing, event-wise and content-wise.
Yes, 100%.
There's a lot of value in seeing it, actually, and being a part of that, for sure.
Steve, in Brisbane, in Australia, they said Teo and Cee got the same beards and headwear going on. Is this the beard uniform up there? I'm like, yes, Steve. Yes, it is. Teo had the hat the other way.
Yeah, you guys are actually matching.
Wait, what?
Pretty much.
Don't fucking know you. Steve, I taught Teo the Damo and Darren at the train station, so you fuck with, he loves it. He loves it. We should call the episode Siggy Bud Brain. I don't think anyone will listen. Maybe we'll get some hits off that video.
Oh, gosh.
You guys should talk about that. So what you were doing with Dope Dank was such a unique and very, very powerful thing that you had created from literally scratch, from just noticing that a big chunk of something was missing from this scene, and you made that happen to the point where Time magazine put you in there. You have made the Imbibe magazine Beer People of the Year.
Yep.
I think in 2018. Do you want to speak to those things? Just because like they're important accomplishments, and it's not even like, you know, tooting your own horn as much as like, yo, it's so important what you were doing that magazines, publications noticed, because it's clearly needed. So yeah, let us know how that came about.
So that was 2018. Yeah, 2018 was a really big year for us. I think, like you said, Imbibe magazine hit us and was like, oh, we're going to feature you in our 75 edition, where they featured different people in various industries in spirits. And then they called us and they were like, we just want you to know we're naming you guys, you know, Beer People of the Year. And we were like, holy shit. Like, you know, we had only been doing events, right, and curating content and crafting the narrative to get more people of color involved. So it was a really big honor for us to be named Beer People of the Year, having not brewed a single beer, but yet pushing the conversation of diversity in a way that no one has done before. And then when we got the email for the Time article, and I remember when I saw it, I was like, so is this like another kind of Time magazine? Like a people?
Is this their online magazine?
It's a digital version of Time magazine, like, you know, because we all know, well, Time magazine is classic. It's like it's kind of raised on it. If you're in Time, you're cemented in the history of whatever the conversation is. Yeah. So when the article actually came out, and the title of the article was "Changing the Face of Beer," and we had a full cover page, we were like, holy shit, like what?
Yeah,
like
it's
we
incredible.
were completely not expecting that. But I think that year, 2018, really set the trajectory for what we had to live up to. And we spent that whole year wanting to be as great as they. There it is. There it is.
So dope, man.
Yeah.
Wanting
crazy,
to
right?
be,
I love that.
yeah.
Insane.
We wanted to be as great as people were hoping that we could be.
Beautiful.
And we wanted to show up for everyone. So I think that was the year that we met Brewdog too, towards the end of that year. And that was the catapult to a lot of where we are today.
So I actually,
And just to kind of like piggyback on that and to kind of bring us to 2020 real quick, you know, this whole COVID thing has obviously been extremely terrible for a lot of people. It is, you know, between the deaths, I lost a family member in Indiana.
Oh, sorry to hear.
You know, there are a lot of people that have you know, had their lives completely changed and turned around. And we definitely keep them in our thoughts and in our prayers. But one of the things that it offered Benny and I was an opportunity to stop. Like when I tell you, we never stopped. We never stopped. And it was like I think, you know, there's been a few interviews that we've been able to fortunately have over the course of the past, you know, month or so, that have asked us about the beginning and asked us about like who influenced us and who, you know, people that motivated us and stuff like that. And you know, again, you know, in no way, in all humility, you know, do we you know, we acknowledge the people that were there before us, you know, the Garrett Olivers, the Celeste Beatties, the, you know, the brewers and people that were enjoying craft beer. But really, as it related to advocating and championing for a community that wasn't there, like we all we had was each other. And we just, I mean, it's been blistering. You know, it was like, I mean, we were still on a tear before COVID happened of like almost 2 months worth of events that we were going to go on just to go in different cities to celebrate the release of our beer, BPLB. And even the beer was created focused on the community, focused on the individuals that were brave enough to even wear this shirt. You know, I mean, do you realize how strong someone has to be to walk into an establishment, a festival, whatever it is, even in their own family, and wear a Black People Love Beer shirt? I mean, that takes a lot of bravery to weather the jokes, to weather the conversation from the stares, the conversations in the corner of the bar, or even worse, the really, really drunk white guy who has it summed up and wants to be loud. And you know, we brewed this beer in honor of all those people, you know, Black and brown, that supported our efforts. But yeah, man, I mean, we're grateful that we've had an opportunity to kind of take stock and inventory of everything that we've done, because it's been fucking hard, man.
It's very hard.
Yeah, you guys, like you said, you guys never stop, and that was something we were talking about earlier today when we were briefly chatting, that I just really, we feel the same way, that this whole period has been very good to us in the sense that it's allowed...
we know y'all work. We know y'all work.
Right.
Like nonstop.
And that's the same as y'all, right? That's why we connected so strongly.
Yeah.
Right? And this has given us, we're just like,
we're just considering it a collective pause. So we were never considering it like, oh, you're in quarantine, we're all doing this. It's just like all of us have had this opportunity, this forced opportunity to take a collective pause. And what are we going to do with that? If that means you need to recharge, then you should recharge. If that means you can look at areas that you have had on back burner, look at those areas now and see how you can amplify them. But yeah, it's like there's been negatives and positives from this. You know?
I guess because like people like you guys, because whenever I think of, like you guys were saying before, you had all the events planned. You always have events planned. You always have travel, and that's the stuff that, like, whilst yes, it's fun and it's part of what we signed up for, it's very, very distracting.
Taxing.
It's really hard to get stuff done when you need to be everywhere, and that I think we lead sort of similar-ish lives in that sense. So now I just feel like I don't know. I'm just never really stressed like I was before because I was like, fuck, I need to get this done.
Yeah.
Because we're going away in a few days.
Yeah,
we have to go. Oh, shit. It's just always stressful. Now we're just like, we cleaned our balcony. We've sat on our balcony for the first time in 2 years.
We sat on our balcony for the first time in 2 years because last year we just were never there at all. And
That's
we're like,
wild.
Wow. Like,
it's like,
this
is dope.
Sitting here, yeah.
We made it. We even bought a palm tree thing for it now.
It's a whole new world. It's a whole new world.
Yo, it's fire now.
I think too for the industry as well. For the breweries that are still going and hopefully will still continue to go on. This is an opportunity for them to take a break too, and kind of rethink their business model and how do they pivot and continue to succeed. In this industry. I think we've said this on a few interviews before. A lot of people weren't factoring in online sales and distribution into their business models the way that they're doing now. And it should be something to always sort of be considered, right? Because everyone can't always make it into the brew pub. Everyone can't always, show up. So how do people get your product without being able to physically be there? And it's now opened up in a completely new target demographic for a lot of these breweries for people to get their beer that wasn't able to get it before or didn't know about it. So I think the pause has helped people, I think, for some in a personal way, but from a business perspective, it allows people to really rethink the model and figure out how to pivot and survive in these times, which is something that we've also had to do as we plan for our brewery, to open in the next year or two.
Okay, I love that. I think Steve in Brisbane just commented. He said, "I love this convo, and this is really important. I never really thought
love you too.
I never really thought about race being an issue in beer, opening my eyes, folks. And this is why what you do is important, because Steve is in Brisbane, Australia, like the Florida, in Queensland is the Florida of Australia.
Right.
And he's a fellow beer podcaster too. So he gets it, but it's something that like people don't hear about enough. And that's why, once again, this is why broadcast you guys message everywhere you can. This is so fucking important across the world, like, because it's something that Australians aren't talking about.
I think to your point, I don't even think we understood the global impact of diversity in craft beer until we went to the UK. One can always assume that, especially with Americans, that it is, a black and white thing, and, that it's the blacks versus the whites, and that there's a dualism there. And when we went to the UK, we realized that black wasn't black. But black wasn't like the black American experience. Black was Nigerian, Ghanaian, Jamaican, just every single kind of shade of brown you could possibly think of that was not necessarily from the same nucleus, if you will. And if you can imagine that, it's even more difficult to have some sense of togetherness or some sense of a united front when there's so many different factions there. And when we went there, we were overwhelmed with the passion and the excitement for what we were doing, because it hasn't been a conversation. It's still very much a difficult conversation in the UK, as we had a conversation with Jaeger Weiss, who is a black head brewer for a Wildcard Brewery in the UK. And what was kind of ironic was, I think the most conversation that we've had as it related to race, to politics, if you want to call it, but even more importantly, taking care of the people and taking care of the community, was with a brewery in the UK, Cloudwater. Paul out there hit the nail on the head. He was like, dude, this COVID scenario, this COVID situation, more than anything, is showing how society takes care of its people, how it takes care of its community, how it doesn't. Exactly. And I thought that was profound for a brewery owner to have that perspective and to bring that to the table when we haven't heard it anywhere else.
Yeah. I only just saw him speaking for the first time
he was right after us.
He was right after us. And I was like, wow, this guy is...
he's on point. I love how much, because I love their beers. I have a bunch of them because friends brought them over for me, and they're super fire. And I love that he gets it. And he's a white dude owning a brewery in the UK, and he gets it to the point where he's like fighting for it more than anybody. I think it's really, really, really sick. You guys have managed to connect that. So
isn't that exciting to know that you support a brewery that has a bigger picture?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yes.
All of this?
Yes.
And I was talking to that with a few of my industry mates here. You know, it's like, man, it's like in every book that I read about starting a craft beer business or the craft beer industry or brewing, you know, one of the first things that it hits almost in the first chapter is this is community. This is about us. This is about brewing something for your friends, your neighbors, your city. And it's steeped in that. Everything is steeped in that. So then, you know, you get to 2020 and you look about, you know, what's going on right now with George Floyd and what's happening in Minneapolis. And you see the silence from the community. That silence is deafening. It's heartbreaking to know that the same industry that touts community and community first and beer people love and hope and all these things are silent. You know, and it was like, oh shit. It was like, okay, now I really know what Crowns and Hops is going to be here for. Now we really have an understanding of reminding people what the fuck community looks like.
And what we stand for,
That's a really, really good point. Henry's also saying, totally love this convo. He totally agrees about how important it is. So maybe before we get into all the stuff with what's happening in the States right now, because that is something we want to touch on, do we want to just connect the dots between when Dope and Dank, when you met Brewdog, to where you are now, just so people understand how it moved from a culture and event sort of focused company to now you fucking brewing beer like called Black People Love Beer. I mean, that is such an incredibly ballsy move. It's amazing that you've done that, and to the point, and it's selling the fuck out. The merch is just dominating. Like, clearly, it's making a big impact. But how did you go from Dope and Dank to Crowns and Hops and becoming an actual brewery in the process of making a brewery?
You know what's funny is the week we actually met the Brewdog team, me and Teo were kind of like, we need to take a fucking break. Like, we're exhausted. We're pushing every day. We're tired. And I think it was 4th of July weekend, which is why we'll always kind of look at 4th of July from an independence perspective. And we were like, you know what? It's the weekend. I'll talk to you in a couple days. We don't need to talk to each other right now. And during that time, we got an email this is when Brewdog had their TV show.
Okay.
And the producer from their show called us and was like, oh, we're coming to LA. We would love to interview you guys or have you guys on the show, you know, whatever. And then me and Teo talked like, all right, do you want to do this? Let's do this. And then next thing you knew, we were damn near co-producing the episode with Brewdog. We connected them with most of the breweries, owners and places and people to go. We really were able to put together quite a diverse cast of people on this episode, which was amazing, and really bring in our community into the show to the point where the whole episode ended with everybody screaming, Dope and Dank! So,
and real quick, just a footnote to that. You have to understand, we had already made the decision to open a brewery at this point.
Okay.
We had no idea that the opportunity would come from Brewdog that did. It was just, we were like, okay, here's another opportunity for us to vocalize, you know, our ethos, our mission, which is, you know, to expose more people of color to craft beer and to make sure that the craft beer community knows that we're here. So that was already there. We didn't have a clue about what would happen in the upcoming weeks.
At the end of the episode, at the end of the final day of shooting, and I don't even know if a lot of people know this, but, you know, James and Martin really kind of came up to us and was like, oh my God, what you guys are doing, we've never seen this before, right? And mind you, they're a global company. They have breweries and tap rooms all over the world. So to hear that from someone who literally has stake in many places around the world to say, we've never seen anyone talk about diversity and inclusion the way that you guys are doing in your small little space in California is amazing. And they simply said to us, how can we help? Like, literally, that's how the conversation started. And we had never met anyone and had us asked that question before. How, especially a brewery as big as Brewdog, with opportunities. how can we help? And that's how we connected with them. We were recipients of their 2.0 development fund. And that is how we transitioned from Dope and Dank into Crowns and Hops. And we always say Crowns and Hops is literally the physical manifestation of everything that we did in the Dope and Dank space. This is now feet, cement in the ground, foundation, brick and mortar products to the people.
We'll let the cement dry before the feet go into the
yeah, right.
cement.
I mean, maybe it's kind of fun the other way.
It's fun to put your...
Another thing that a lot of people don't know is we got a cease and desist on Dope, which is why we had to change our name.
Fuckers.
I mean, hey, look, when I tell you, it's another reason why if you're passionate about your culture and your community, that you should do something, you should take action. Can you imagine how horrible it feels for a word that you've been using your entire life, affiliated with the culture, that you absolutely integrate to almost everything that you do, you can't even use it because someone owns it globally?
In every category.
Oh my God. I mean, the paperwork that we got for that shit was ridiculous. They showed pictures of Jay-Z and pictures of all these rappers and literally almost took ownership for the word dope. And the world gave them ownership of it, which is kind of ridiculous. But what do dope people do? Dope people reinvent themselves.
Yes, they do.
Dope people
they pivot.
continue to unfold and create and live in a space of creation. And that's where Crowns and Hops was created out of.
Amazing.
And the lesson to learn from this, everyone in business, get your fucking trademarks, okay? We were 4 years into Dope and Dank to only discover we couldn't keep it. So check your trademarks. If you're going to go crazy on a name, check your trademarks.
Yeah,
just saying.
We've spoken about that a few times.
We really have to do it.
Yeah.
I actually didn't know.
What?
Yeah, I know.
I know.
It's like mad expensive. It's like a few G's or some shit.
Yeah,
so
I think it was like $6,000. We looked into it once and it was like $6,000.
Was it six?
We're like, we're not going to do
that. And to that point, like, you know, the Brewdog team really did help us a lot with getting a lot of our IP and everything under Crowns and Hops, which is another thing we've had to address with people. It's like, shit, you know, we did a lot of things really. Ooh, Benny, you all right? You gonna make it?
And lost keys in the process.
But, you know, they gave us a lot of help because while we were building a company and while we were building all the pillars for a company that would essentially be recognized globally, we still were advocating. We still were having events. We still were doing all the things that we had dedicated our lives to the years prior. Like, that shit didn't stop. Right. You know, so, you know, they really came in and helped. And I think what a lot of people could not do was separate a lot of the things that the Brewdog team has done from either a gimmicky standpoint, a marketing standpoint, with the initiative of just wanting to help people that wanted to help their community. Yeah. Like people somehow just decided to blur everything and muddle them, you know, so that we were just this, you know, this group that's now getting pimped by a group with money. And that couldn't have been farther from the truth.
Not at all. We are the majority owners of our company. This is our business. This is our brand. Brewdog has said repeatedly, just how can we help? Hands off. Let us know what you need. And to Teo's point, a lot of that legal stuff when you're starting a business is fucking hard. It's a lot of stuff you don't know. It's a lot of follow-up. It's a lot of, like, you know, you got to stay on it. And people don't really realize at the time, to Teo's point, we were still in it. We still had to keep going. So if someone offers you particularly administrative and or legal support, which is such a big part of your business, you accept it. And that's what we did. They were very helpful in us locking in a lot of that stuff. And for them, we are grateful for that.
And the crazy thing about it is, like, every time we would go through paperwork and stuff, we were like, are they really just doing this shit? You know, it was like everything. And it was like, you think of the Steve Jobs and, you know, all these, you know, larger companies. Like, I have to believe that a lot of these companies and these owners, like, at some point just go like, fuck, I need to get back, you know. And again, this, you know, not to diminish what Benny and I have done on our own, but there are individuals that I think do want to put themselves out there, because anybody knows, that accumulates great wealth. It's the law of circulation. If you're not giving back, that shit is not coming back to you. You can't build off of that.
Yeah.
Okay. So, do you have something?
Yeah, I had a question now because now we're talking about the brewery and doing it with BrewDog.
Yes.
I wanted to get into, because it's being built in Inglewood.
No,
so I want to just get into why Inglewood and like what your vision is for the space that you're building.
The great thing about Inglewood is it is a city of the people, and it still is a city of the people. It's a very diverse area, very diverse space. Teo was born.
I was born in
there you go.
Born in
Inglewood. Fuck, it is.
And we wanted to go into an area where we can find our people.
Yeah.
It's literally as simple as that. And Inglewood still represents a large demographic of Blacks and Hispanics and whatever. And that's kind of where we wanted to be. We wanted to buy back the block, relatively speaking. We know that with the new stadium coming and the new arena coming to Inglewood, gentrification is a knock away. So in order to be part of that conversation and to take ownership in that space, we wanted to go to a city where we could set our roots and keep some of that culture, preserve that culture in the city with our brand, And
one of the things that is important, when we were originally looking for places and cities to be, every time we would have a discussion with either a realtor, with potential investors, the awesome thing was either we were right before, at the same time, or right after Nipsey Hussle, Issa Rae. So it was validating to us that our philosophy on being able to go to a city that was predominantly black and brown, at a time of it being revitalized, gentrified, whatever you want to call it, was being held in a place of we got you. We got you from a position of, we will make sure that the world recognizes what you've been and the progress that you will start to show and project, and it will come from you as well. It'll come from us, and it was really important for us to do that. Inglewood, man. When someone says Inglewood, to be able to lose that would be like losing dope.
Yeah. That's
what I'm saying? To lose the significance of Inglewood being affiliated with beautiful melanated human beings, man, fuck that.
Yeah.
We're gonna show up.
Oh, I can't wait.
I love it. That's beautiful. So last year, you got.
We know it's beautiful because you sitting right next to a Nubian melanated
queen, empress.
Teo, so flattering.
I do know. I'm very
next
well
year.
aware.
Yeah.
Next year, we'll be back. So last year, there was, so basically you started off, you got I just want to connect the dots for this last little part so people know what's up. So you met BrewDog, you connected with them, they said, how can I help you? To be honest, I actually didn't know that you guys wanted to do a brewery. I thought that they presented you with their opportunity and you were like, fuck, that's dope. Because last time we spoke about it, Teo and I had a conversation one night, and dude, you told me that and I really love this idea, you wanted to create a space. You had a dream for a space, but you said it was going to be a bar. And you would pull in, basically curate a beer list of, the best stuff in the city, friends of yours that you guys had both, connected with and worked with throughout your events, and make the space, have DJs, basically do exactly what you're going to do in the brewery. So that was news to me. That's really cool to hear.
We're still going to do that shit.
Of course you are. But now you're making your own beer.
To that point, and this is something, and I definitely want to get back to, where we are as of today. But our goal has always been to showcase our friends in the craft beer community. I think there are a lot of people, there are a lot of companies that have helped us and that have helped us project our message. El Segundo Brewing in El Segundo, J. Wakefield Brewing in Miami, Indy, in Boyle Heights, Dry River,
Boomtown,
Boomtown, freaking Eagle Rock Brewing Company, those are our friends, and we want to make sure that when people not only sell craft beer, but also discover craft beer for the first time, we want to make sure that they understand that there's more, because, and Benny and I, what we haven't really vocalized is that we were actually going to do our first craft beer festival this year. Well, we were awarded a grant from the Brewers Association, but we respectfully declined it. In the face of everything that's going on right now, in lieu of the fact that, what's the point of having a fucking festival if the only the breweries that are there are the well-capitalized breweries? So we gracefully asked that they take it back and that they use it, specifically to help breweries owned by people of color, because those are the ones that are probably getting hit the hardest right now. But our goal is still to make that festival come to fruition in 2021.
Wow.
And the other thing too, see that you mentioned, what's so crazy about when the opportunity presented itself for us to really transition into Crowns and Hops, we had just finished creating our business plan for the brewery. Like we were ready. Wow. And I think a lot of people don't understand the importance of being ready for opportunities when they present themselves. So when I tell you the few days before, we just finished the PDF deck of our brewery proposal. So when the question was asked to us, how can we help? We immediately said,
we have
our brewery deck. Let's pick a time. Let's sit down. We had found a property we were hoping to get to take at the time. We were ready. And I think that is a testament to a lot of what me and Teo have done over the years, is we've continued to pivot and we've continued to be prepared and ready for the opportunities that present themselves. And that is a lesson for everyone, to just keep being ready, when these opportunities come. So.
I think that quote, seriously. And I think, I don't know the exact quote, I'm not saying it verbatim, but it is like, success is where opportunity meets preparation.
That's the one. I think that's exactly it.
That could be it, and I 100% believe that. 100%.
Or if the immortal words of Sugar Free, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready.
And that too.
I like it. I like that one better.
But you guys wrote that into existence. Like,
it's
literally
so amazing.
wrote that into existence.
And even the next step that we were happened to be involved in was the Indiegogo campaign.
Oh.
Like, guys, like, whatever, the business stuff aside, that was one of the most crazy shit I've ever seen in my life. I cannot believe having your fucking Instagram on my phone was the worst. Like, I've never had my shit blown up. Like my battery was dying. just the
outpour of love,
it was
support.
Amazing.
It's real.
That I was about to say it was easy. It wasn't easy. It was a lot of work, but rallying the community.
Just to lay the ground for everybody. BAOS helped us along with the Indiegogo campaign.
It was actually high season. It was high season.
Technically,
it was high season.
High society.
High season.
High season.
Oh my gosh! You know what?
High society too.
We're probably gonna get in trouble with the high season, and we need to figure out if that's gonna be happening. If we try to trademark it.
There's some weed company that keeps tagging us. So like,
marketing or something. We're gonna have to be careful with that.
Well, look,
high season. Okay.
And just to publicly say, like, thank you. In the midst of everything that we were doing, we were able to rely on Cee and Tiff for helping us with digital, and that was. I mean, man, bro. I mean, one, it was amazing to have friends that knew us intimately, that knew us and knew our brand and knew the spirit of what we were doing. So to have someone help us navigate that during a time was a testament to the fact that we cannot do this shit on our own.
Mm-hmm.
We do need each other. We need help. We need individuals. People can't be so protective of their ideas and their concepts that they can't share and ask for help.
Yeah.
Because certainly needed it, and y'all came through like a motherfucker, man. So thank you.
Thank you, guys. It was our pleasure. Like, I'm so happy you even brought us on. Like, that was just great. I know. When we're allowed to leave the country, and when the borders are opening.
Yeah, I know. Right?
But yeah, no, we were so happy to be a part of it. It's something I really look on with pride, because that was beautiful. That was something so beautiful.
That Indiegogo campaign was really, I think, a case study to the industry and to the world that everyone is ready for Crowns and Hops. Everybody is ready for Black and brown excellence to be exhibited in craft beer. And that's what we've been able to take to our investor meetings. Mm-hmm. We want to give everybody. We are still using that money. But two, and I'm sorry, I might have cut off. But two, that we want to make sure that people understand that was our way of showing to people that would invest in us the true capital that's needed to open a brewery. Mm-hmm. That the people wanted it. And that the people are ready for it.
That's the proof of concept, right?
Yeah.
So when people are asking you, like, how do we know that this is needed? That's your proof of concept on a platter. It's so beautiful.
Right?
Yeah.
I've never seen a more engaged audience in my entire time doing social media the last, 12 to 15 years. Like, it was insane.
Yeah.
And it's just gone. And that was a year and a bit ago.
Emotional as fuck.
It was, man.
So many crying.
Yeah,
that was full, roller coaster.
No, it was very cool, and we were proud because you guys are great friends of ours over and above this. So the fact that you even thought of us to work with you guys on the business on a really important step, because this was cool. You got a grant from Brewdog, mm-hmm. and this was the next step because this was the community buy-in, and you trusted us with your brand to do that, and thank you guys as well for rolling the dice on us. And it was just a pleasure to work with, not only just friends, because that can go.
Technically that could go left.
That could go left.
Was really good.
Hey, I got a question for y'all, man. What the fuck are y'all gonna do, man? I feel like you guys are putting in so much work. I mean, what are you launching? BAOS TV? I mean, what the hell is going on with y'all? Let the people know what's going on with beer and other shit.
We don't know. Someone asked me the other day, why do we keep doing it? But it's basically
no, because they're like, why does anyone want to be an influencer?
Yeah.
What is it? Do you do it for the free beer? But for us, it's a brand building effort. And it's building brand to execute on.
Do you know why? I don't want a brewery because
it's so much work.
I saw the people we interviewed, and then you guys most importantly, because that's the real grind of it. The first time we'd really seen that.
Yeah.
So that's a no.
I respect it. I respect it,
but it's not for us.
And I can't wait to visit. Yes. But damn, it's a lot of work that we can't.
We wanted to set up a media platform.
Ours is to be a media house, so that's where the blog comes in. That's why we have the podcast. That's why we have the website, the video. It's to basically create a media hub for craft beer and travel content, anything that drives, which is why we partner with the tourism board.
So eventually, exactly right. So
trust me, you guys are already earmarked into the budget. Trust.
Basically.
Whatever y'all need forever in a day. Whatever.
We're here. Yeah.
But it's we want to sort of be able to have a series of hosts that would come in, preferably diverse voices, to host different podcasts under our banner and write on our blog with that and create things for the YouTube channel. So it's not right now. It's me. I'm the face. Luckily, during this time, it's really become people know that it's Tiff and I. From the beginning, it's been Tiff and I. It always has. And my brother as well.
I like being behind the camera.
But now she's at. Boom! I still can't believe you're drinking a 2-year-old IPA.
So happy.
It's amazing.
So sorry. Where the hops? The hops are gone, right? Everything's gone.
It's just a sweet, sticky.
It must be sweet, sticky
juice. You can talk shit about it. It's 2 years old. It's okay.
If anything, is education. Motherfuckers quit hoarding and saving your.
Just drink it.
We had a big problem.
Speaking of,
intended to drink fresh.
Yeah.
But that's not an IPA. I mean, ooh shit.
No, this is a.
Wish it. Ooh Jesus.
Yeah, I know.
I hope you ate something, brother.
I ate nothing.
Yeah.
So I'm feeling okay. I'm not even buzzed off the last one. So.
But so to answer your question, it's more of a media house, basically, to create this media empire that you can look at in that way. And that's why we're just in brand building. And that's why we think tourism is a big thing. We think that's overlooked a lot. Tourism craft beer drives tourism.
Yeah.
So kind of connecting on that side, and that's why we've been fortunate to partner with a few states and cities here to.
But we want to share we want to tell the stories. With our
and our big thing is
telling the stories of the breweries and the people behind them. That's our thing.
Because that's what gets people invested, right?
Because no one talks about that. No one asks the question. It's always about the hosts thing, but it's never about me or Tiff. It's about the people we're speaking to. What's your and you already saw here that people from Australia who'd never even heard about or considered that race could play a part in beer is already opening people's minds, and this is just alive that people are going to listen. They're going to listen to that later. So this is a testament to it.
Yeah.
And with that said, I think it's really important to understand the power of digital right now. To understand the power of influencing. I mean, because let's be honest. COVID also taught us that, you know, in an industry where a lot of people shitted on people that were doing influencing and taking pictures of beer and sharing their beer, that became at these breweries at the industry. I'm sorry, did I cut off?
Yeah, you did.
It's okay.
I think the industry realized that digital is the one thing that people could rely on.
Yep.
You know, and it's the one thing that would save our businesses. And going back to the concept of influencing, you have to ask yourself, what are you fucking influencing?
Yeah.
You know, and you look at people right now that are paralyzed to even talk about human rights. They're paralyzed in using their platform because of what? They're scared that if you talk about the life of a black human being, that people are going to all of a sudden be upset.
Yeah, not buy your beer.
But that is the reality, though. But that is a real fear, right? Because I think that what we're all kind of discovering too intrinsically is there are people that aren't supporters of culture.
Yeah.
They're not supporters of people that are something different than them.
Yeah, and that is a consumer base. You know, I hate to say it, that some people possibly are afraid to lose. Because it's still dollars, right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And look, well, you know, and I think Benny and I, you know, when we, you know, really started speaking up on what was happening in Minneapolis, you know, shout out to Brewing Change Minnesota, who is a group that has been doing a lot of work in diversity and inclusion in the craft beer industry. I mean, they're on the streets right now. You know, they are letting their voices be heard. And, you know, we made a post about them, you know, last night to speak about their efforts. But, you know, we just found it really sad, you know, that, and again, a community and an industry that is steeped in community, that they have been swallowing their tongues to show essentially no support for the very people that patronize their business. So, you know, our thought is, you know, we got into this entire thing to make sure that people of color, that black people specifically, were introduced to finer things, you know, to affordable luxuries like craft beer. And if we can't even speak up or voice our opinion for the death of black men and women, then what is our purpose?
Yeah.
What do we influence? And that's why we felt passionate about saying something about it, and not necessarily asking for the community to make posts and do digital things, but fucking reach out to your patrons. You probably have individuals that come to your brewery every week, that bring strangers, that bring family and friends to your brewery every week that have never been there. Like, are you reaching out to them? Are you reaching out to your staff of color? Are you reaching out to the drivers that take your beer from A to B? Are you at least just saying, are you okay? I love you.
Yeah.
I care about you. And I may not have the answer, but I'm here and I'm willing to hold space for you.
Yeah.
And that's all I think we as a brand and as a community-based business are asking for the community is look at your community and make sure that you're being supportive.
Isn't that interesting though? And that's just so beautiful, and it's like should be technically a no-brainer.
Yeah.
But isn't that interesting that because this isn't political, right? It's technically not supposed to be politicized. It's not. I understand a brand that doesn't want to take a side. You don't want to say that I support a democracy. I support Democrats versus Republicans. There's no side to this, right? Because it's so.
Well, they're politicized.
So
it
to not talk about so to not talk about it. Isn't that a larger reflection on who your community, your audience might be, that you would be afraid to actually say something about that?
Your community is exactly.
That's you need to look much deeper than that, because for us, we always say, like, if there's something that we put out there that we believe in and somebody doesn't like it, you weren't for us anyway, so it's okay. That's why we actually will say we're Democrats and we'll talk about that stuff, because we're like, okay, that's fine. If you're not for that, I don't care, because I don't mind if you go away, because we're not the same, so that's fine with me. So for something like this, which it does not, it's just a human life, and that there's just something that continues to happen, and there's a problem that's systemic, that's obvious, that can't be ignored, and you have all this hurt around you, and to ignore it just shows that you know that there's something in your base that is not right, because you're too afraid to say something. That's super concerning. Sure. That's very concerning.
That is truly an unhealthy fear, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I have friends, I have conservative friends, I have the whitest friends on the face of the planet. I'm talking about albino white. You know, I'm talking about, you know,
like
I have
actually.
wealthy friends. I have, you know, friends all over the planet, you know, that don't look like me, and I can have a cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, yo.
You can have a conversation with them.
You know, and we could still have a
That is amazing.
and we could still have a healthy conversation about what it means to be protectors of life and humanity.
Right.
Yes,
and
of course.
Good.
Yeah.
You know, I mean that's what this whole craft beer thing is about, is having a pint with your brother and your friend and your neighbor. And if you're saying that I only care about, you know, the neighbor to my right, and I don't give a shit about the neighbor on my left, then how fucking of a neighbor are you?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. We have a few comments here, actually. So Steve says, I do definitely recognize the whiteness of most beer spots here, but I do believe the craft beer scene here is mostly made up of people who are more socially aware. In saying that, women in beer is probably more of a point of conversation at present.
Yes,
and that's actually a very good point, because I think
the...
women, it's very interesting, and I want to pull it back here again to something like this. Mm-hmm. If the conversation is around, it's like you pick your diverse topic or something that you want. You don't want to talk about all the diversity, but I do notice that the female, like the Women's Day of beer could be something, you know what I mean? Or what's our Women's Day? National Women's Day is something that could be covered. Or if this happened to a woman, perhaps this is something where a post will come out talking about how much we care about women.
Yeah.
But there's something where it comes to the color where someone's like, oh, we don't want to talk about that. We can't talk about
we don't want to talk about
related to color.
Oh, of course.
But we
or
could
even a dog. If it was an animal.
Oh gosh, if it was an animal, that would be number one.
No, seriously, if a dog was abused, it would be a huge uproar.
Oh, without question.
And people would have felt totally comfortable supporting a dog.
Of course.
Amy Cooper.
It was, what was the girl?
Amy Cooper.
They lost their mind about the dog.
It was you know, and here's my thought on that, and this thought is shared by one of our good friends, Ashton Berry, the collectress, I think is her handle. It's so much easier to have these conversations about pets, about sexism, about things, because we can deal with them. But I think specifically in America, the concept of race and what has happened in America has never truly been dealt with.
Yes,
so no one really has you know, case studies outside of what the black community has kind of presented. You know, Frederick Douglass, Ida B. Wells, you know, all these amazing historians have written books on, like, here's a good place to start. It just hasn't really been dealt with. So, you know, to address the question, you know, I think we do have the platform for a lot of supporting women in craft beer. You have the Pink Boots Society, which is global. You have a lot of things, but when it comes to race, it is very uncomfortable because for the most part, it tends to still be a problem that intrinsically lives in white community that the white community hasn't dealt with. And it's only so much, how much can the community that's kind of getting beat down come up with solutions unless the community that is struggling with even talking about it deals with it, you know, within themselves.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Henry says, very true, fam. This is what craft beer is all about, sharing with your brothers and sisters, no matter your race or color.
Yeah. No, it's super important, and you're right. Yeah, man. It's something, like, it's interesting because I feel like even up here, now that you guys are sort of talking about that, about the lack of support that you've seen for all of this stuff there, I guess it's happening in the States, but people are feeling it everywhere. I've seen a bunch of my friends, white friends here, even tweeting about it, that are just disgusted with everything. But I haven't seen any breweries talk about it.
No, I don't.
We are
not at all.
So deeply far behind you guys, and I think you guys are already having a lack of brewery. I mean, like, one thing that you guys taught me through all of this is that the breweries that co-opt images of another culture and appropriate them, particularly hip hop culture. Are those breweries, without naming names, that we all know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, are they talking
about it at all?
Nope.
No.
Interesting. I want to take.
No one's talking about it. No one at all is talking about it. It's just like we said before. When it comes to race, it's easier to say nothing for some than to say anything at all, and that is the stance that most people are taking. I'm not going to get involved. It's not my fight, perhaps. yet it's all of our fights because we're fighting for human rights, basically. So
big facts.
It doesn't matter. Yeah. It's kind of where we stand with that.
Isn't that pretty crazy though? I mean, you have rap related beers with rap names, with the artist images and likenesses, and you would think, I mean, shit, even if you don't want to do it on your feed, do it on your stories, do it as an email, whatever. I mean, it's like, if you are aware of the significance of incorporating it into your naming convention or your art, how can you not also be aware of how it might be affecting your patrons?
Yes. And it's interesting because it's even larger than that, and a lot of brands outside of even beer are running into this issue, right? If you look at the brands that heavily sell to black communities, like Fashion Nova, what's that other Pretty Little Thing, all these types of brands, there are people now calling to them being like, oh, interesting, because you're like, you love selling to us, you like having us in your room to do XYZ and to market for you, but then when something affects our community, you're silent. Where you at? Yeah. Where you at? Right. And I think that's also something that we have to look at to see where do we put our dollars. Because I know, like, a lot of the things that I've realized even in this point is places where I'm putting money, I'm not going to put money anymore because various ways that they haven't supported during this time. So I think that's something that we have to look at as well, and the power of the dollar, because it's huge.
I think it also speaks to the your entire mission as a whole, because as breweries don't understand when there's a line of, even if the line is now 6 feet apart because of COVID, but there's a line out the door every weekend for the can releases, and most of those faces are pale with beards and backwards hats apparently, and they are like, well, okay, then maybe there is a scattering of diversity in there, but they don't even
think about it.
They're just worried about staying open right now. And now that's not an excuse by any means, but I really feel that still this is why your work is so important, and everyone else who was supporting your movement, all people like Eric, Uncap Everything, Black Beer Travelers, all of that. There's so many really great individuals who are pushing the message, which is fantastic, and
things like this actually just prove how valuable
it's
already known that what you're doing is very valuable, but it does show you how important it is again. It's like you keep getting proven. I hope one day that you're not proven and then this becomes something, like that's and I actually curious, like what would this world look like for you? Like what would it be like, we've created this impact and this is our legacy? Like I would love to know like what that looks like for you. Because that's what you're going to be doing. That's what you're going to be doing.
About to find out.
Because I would hope that this impacts and creates like multiple communities around the world where like all of us feel good when we're in a brewery and there's at least 7 of us or something like that, for goodness sake.
we live in a place in craft beer right now to where you can find your identity in craft beer right now. I mean, you could find, if you love horror movies, if you love rock and roll or heavy metal or whatever it is, you have so many villages that live in craft beer, and the one village that we don't feel has truly had representation is the black community. And we were kind of joking around with this on the interview the other day. When you walk into Crowns and Hops, it's not just gonna be hip hop.
Yeah,
I mean, Benny and I grew up off of listening to Van Halen and fucking Nirvana and everything else. But what you will feel is a sense of empowerment. You will feel a sense of seeing and identifying something in a spirit that you love, and that will include black culture, and it'll be black culture intrinsically woven into the tapestry of our walls and our seats and our tap lines. So for us to be able to show that and to execute it in a way that is that can be replicated over the world, over the globe, is what we would hope would be our effect.
I love that.
And the last thought from me is, I mean, you really couldn't have said it any better. When our doors do open, you will feel a lot of that, and it won't just be people of color, but the people of color will feel like they're home. And
I love that.
That's what Crowns and Hops is.
I love that.
It's like the episode name. Oof,
yeah,
gorgeous, Benny. Oh my
All
gosh.
Right.
Couple last comments and then we'll wrap it up. Henry saying, I hate the whole line thing for can releases. It's insane. With you, my man. Some breweries are just in it for the money and actually knowing their customer, not for actually knowing their customers.
Yeah.
And that is really, really true and very unfortunate. And Stephen Brizzy is saying, you've got me wondering whatever happened with that founders issue. Have shunned them since I first heard, but need to Google it if they were actually pricks. No need to discuss, just thinking out loud. Did you want to comment on that, guys? Being, I know you guys were all up on founders and they're cancelled as fuck forever.
Yeah, they're cancelled as fuck.
Again, when you have no parity, when you have no diversity in an industry or in a specific community-based business, or no, I paused again.
There you go.
When you don't have diversity, when you don't have that diversity, you don't have anyone that can provide checks and balances. And founders certainly did not have that as a mechanism in order to police things that were just not indicative of craft beer culture and a community of people that are that are healthy and supportive of one another. I can't speak on where they're at right now. I honestly haven't given them much of my energy. Benny and I have been really focused on building Crowns and Hops. But yeah, that'll also be a change that you see as an effect of Crowns and Hops in our existence.
I love that.
I love it.
For the final thought, can you do you want to put any sort of timelines on when people can expect the next sort of steps with you guys opening and your location in Inglewood or anything? Or is there anything you can say on that yet? I know it's
preliminary.
Well, our focus in terms of opening, it will be we're at least a year or so out, especially with everything with COVID, regardless of what our timelines may or may not have been. It's just ultimately pushed back just because of everything that's going on. But our main focus will be contract brewing and getting our beer back on shelves. We had our BPLB release.
Yes.
But we're going to start moving into getting our signature beers out and really pushing to get the product on shelves and get the beer in the hands of the people.
Hey, again, to Henry, we want to make sure that there's beer out there that from a philosophy standpoint you can find and support and purchase, because that has been missing. To Benny's point, our goal is to focus on this beer. We have some amazing partners that are capable right now while we're in the process of still finalizing the space and all the things that comes with opening a brewery. We're going to get the beer to you, family.
I love that.
I wish we could get the beer, but we're in Canada life.
Yeah.
Canada life.
Yes. As soon as they open up the borders.
As soon as the borders open.
I love that. And you guys have been contracting out of Eagle Rock, right?
Yes, that's where we do our last BPLB.
That's amazing. And that was like a hazy IPA.
Shout out Jeremy and Ting.
Hey, I love that. That's so sick. I'm so glad you put that logo on the beer. I think it's
just looks so beautiful.
So proud, man. I'm so happy.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Look at it. It's just gorgeous. Just gorgeous.
Beautiful.
Look at that.
Just clean.
Yeah.
Man, guys, I love you guys.
Community, baby.
I love it.
To Matt helped us with
Matt Varnish of Varnish Studio.
That is something.
Yes.
Yeah, that guy
Killing
is
the
very
game.
talented. So talented. Yeah.
I love that. I love that, what he's doing. Guys, you're the best. I love you guys so much. Where can everyone find everything about Crowns and Hops online?
You can find us on Instagram at Crowns, CROWNS, Hops, HOPS, or crownsandhops.com, Twitter, Crowns and Hops, Facebook, YouTube. We're everywhere.
Everywhere. Keep an eye out. So
and if anybody wants any updates, please sign up for our newsletter on our website. We do our best to at least, every 30 days or so, just kind of give an update. We don't bombard you with bullshit, but we definitely keep you abreast of merch, of beer releases and our events. So,
and tomorrow is the last Kick It With Crowns, no?
Yes. On Saturday is the final
kick. Yes.
All right.
Tomorrow is this is our 11th episode of Kick It With Crowns Digital Bottle Share. We're ending the month off. Right way, but then in June we are kicking off a new health initiative. This is about a year out from our last one we did last year,
which Craig and I failed at. Craig and I failed at that terribly.
Right. So to get out of our quarantine bodies, we're gonna spend the month of June focused on getting our asses back in shape. Whatever you got to do, we're gonna post a 30-day challenge, and every day tells you what you need to do to make it really easy for those who don't know what to do.
All right.
So do your best, do what you can, but it's just something to help people sort of just get off the fucking couch, get cracking again, get ourselves back in shape.
So key.
Right.
Once again, all about the community, the health of the community. Look at
everything.
That.
Yeah, just touches everything. Touches everything.
Everything.
Everything to life. Do you know what? Just before we finish the podcast, I want to get the thumbnail for YouTube.
We have to do it live.
So we have to do it live because otherwise it has like all these things. Do you want to
I
hold
look like Teo poses immediately.
Okay.
Like that just take
you can hold up whatever you're drinking if you like. Okay, if I go hang
My
on.
glass is downstairs.
Oh, that's okay. Never mind. You can just do a night. Oh, fuck. What did I do? Oh, shit. Hang on. Wait.
Oh, I think you just took Teo.
Oh, I just took him out. Okay, that's all right.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
I like the podcast's going to hear. Oh, fuck.
What am I doing? How do you... Hang on. What's the button?
Command Shift 4.
Command Shift 4. That's what I pressed.
There you go.
What am I...
Come on, Craig.
New to the computer. New to the computers.
I'm new to the game, Benny. It's like
I'm trying to get the light.
All right.
Can't get a good light.
Here we go. This is like... Sorry for those on audio listening to us trying to get
a good light.
Craig,
I'm in the dark. I can't.
You guys...
There's a light. There's a light.
They get ready?
Oh, there you go. You are the light, Benny. You are the light.
Dark. Damn it.
I think we got... No, we got it.
We got it.
I
was like, you are the light.
You're glowing up. You are the light, Benny.
Anyway.
Glowing up. Guys, I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for your time.
I cannot wait to see you guys in person sometime soon.
It's been way too long.
Oh, also because we do building a brewery, so like I would like to try to find a way for us to get to LA.
No, they don't know. They probably don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, sorry, we have a podcast series that we do. It's called Building a Brewery. We were actually doing one in the middle of one before COVID started. So we're gonna see how that happens now. But I would love to do one of the seasons on you, and then I would love for us to work out a way to get there and just do a stint of time because technically we don't need to be.
Because it'd be over time.
So it'll be over time, but we can either... so that's something I want to do.
We'll reach out to you and give, as soon as we have a timeline, a solid timeline of construction and build out, we'll roll that out to you and we can make that happen, family.
I love it.
Because I'll explain to you after. You can still hang on after. I'm going to wrap the podcast up and then the live keeps going.
Yeah.
So, guys, love you. Make sure you go follow Beny and Teo everywhere and support everything they're doing. And if you're in California, at least in the LA area, you'll be able to cop the beers. Henry saying cheers for the amazing convo. Appreciate you, man.
Steven
Thank you for tuning in.
Anya legends. Cheers for a great convo.
Anya.
I love Anya.
That's straight as I love it.
Anya,
mate. Guys.
Once again, shout out to everybody in Minneapolis. We love you guys. We're supporting you and we got your back. So, cheers.
Yeah, stay strong, y'all. Appreciate y'all. Thank you guys all so much for watching and listening. If you enjoyed the episode, mate, smash the thumbs up. Hit subscribe below. Hit the notification bell.
Ding.
So you know when the new drops. Follow us on social media at BAOS Podcast. Check out the long form audio, Apple Podcast, Spotify, literally everywhere. And you can hear extraordinarily attractive and hustling ass people that Beny and Teo right here talk fire every week. Guys, thank you so much. We'll see you in the next episode.
Bye.
There we go. All right. Live people, we still here. Guys, that was fun.
Thank you so much.
That was lit. Y'all the best.
I love you guys. I love you guys.
Thank you guys.
No problem. Appreciate
it's
y'all.
6:30.
Hey.
I have to go tinkle.
Yeah, that's always the worst part of all this.
Bye, guys.
We'll see y'all soon.
We'll see you tomorrow in your
Yes,
live.
we'll see you tomorrow. Peace, guys. Have a good one.